Namaste, everybody. Those here, and I see 13 connections on Zoom, so that's good. We have about 30 people right now. Hopefully, everybody else will join. It's my pleasure on behalf of Arya Samaj Houston to welcome everybody to the Hindus of Greater Houston first advisory council meeting of the year. And actually, I see board members also, so it's a joint meeting today. But it's a very special occasion that we have gathered here as we change guards at the advisory council, and I will leave the rest of the message for Taraji. So very, very, very welcome. Just keep your cell phones off. Water is outside. We don't drink or eat inside this hall. I know all of you know that. I can see by faces, but sometimes people are coming, they don't know. They think it's just a assembly hall. It's not, it's Arya Samaj and it's our prayer hall. So just letting you know that. Thank you so much. And I'm going to introduce our fearless, strong, energetic president, Tara Narasimhanji, to take over from here. Thank you.
Namaste all. I just want to chant a prayer, small prayer before I begin. Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karvavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much for the introduction, Sanjay Jainji. Thank you also accommodating us in this place, Arya Samaj, our second home, I guess. Namaste to all. I welcome you on behalf of Hindus of Greater Houston for today's special meeting of the HGH Advisory Council 2022. Hindus of Greater Houston takes pride to express our sincere gratitude to Dev Mahajanji, who has been our chairman and advisory council of Hindus of Greater Houston for the past 10 years or over. A very big thank you for everything he has done for HGH over the years. You have inspired us, encouraged us, gave us direction, and initiated many programs. Interaction with the interfaith community. Also, holding youth recognition awards in different temple locations, encouraging youth with the youth leadership organization, the Young Hindus of Greater Houston, with Arya Samaj of Greater Houston in the semi-annual blood donation drive, to mention a few. I will walk down the memory lane in a few minutes about HGH. As I say, HGH started with Raj Syalji's idea of collective community, celebration of Janmashtami in 1990. After almost 10 years later, the community grew larger and HGH was incorporated with 7 directors. I'm going to show the slide show later, so I don't want to kind of repeat that. So some of the slides will give you the info that HGH was incorporated with 7 directors in 2001. Dev Mahajanji was one of the first board of director of HGH when they incorporated. And it was prudent to make changes again, designated by Girish Nayak as president as 2008, Sharad Amin in 2011, Anshuman Desai in 2015, Partha Krishnaswamy in 2016, and yours truly, Taraji, from 2019. We worked on the new bylaws that was revised in 2021. A few excerpts I read. What does the advisory council do? In addition to the board, HGH will have an advisory council whose members consist of 1 representative from each member organization, perhaps the chairman or the president or organization are appointed by their board. The role of the advisory council, in short, is to offer opinion on important policy matters and other matters referred to them by the board. They shall perform such activities as requested and assigned to them on a periodic basis. So the board may nominate and appoint as many needed members of the advisory council. Members shall not have voting rights in the board of directors. The advisory council will elect its chairman, the picture of what you see of all the advisory board council, as well as invitees who join us in our bi-monthly meeting of the Hindu leaders. And of course, this is all some past, memories. This is at Chinmaya Mission. We had a meeting as well as we had our youth awards hosted over there. And we see here, this happened at Meenakshi Temple Youth Awards. And this was at Durgabari Temple when we awarded Rishi Bhutada ji as a live keynote speaker of that to the youth that year. Extensive work because of Dev Mahajan ji started that every temple should host the youth award. We all had the opportunity to do so. This is another celebration of Dev ji and Sushma Mahajan ji, honored at the Interfaith Tapestry Gala in 2015. And here you see a beautiful picture today I found. So I thought I will have to include both of them in a gala that was happened with the IM in 2017. And this is the current picture we followed in last year's gala. Timing is very important. There appears Partha Krishnaswamy ji, whom I was about to call to see whether he can come forward along with Vijay Pallorji. Would you please come here over to the podium, please? And Sanjay Jain ji, Hemant Yadav, all our board members, could you please come over?
Namaste, everybody. Change of guard is always a transition. And sometimes you don't know what's going to happen. We know how we fared in the past under the leadership of Dev Mahajanji. He's not going anywhere far away. So that is the biggest confidence that we have got. We can change guards. Previously, same thing in the board. We had different presidents. We had Girish Nayak, and then we had Sharad Amin. We had different people who took over charges, but we have not gone there. We are still there supporting. So that is how we are expecting Devji. You may be thinking that this is the end of it. It is not. You're still there. All of us, at least in Hindus of Greater Houston, have been the same way. We are still working. Myself, Girish ji, Sharad Bhai, everybody is working, not in that position that we held before, but we are still supporting and contributing. We expect the same thing with you. Your advice has been very, very helpful. And your name and the way you present yourself and the way you expect people to perform is something very interesting. And I think is essential for the leaders to look forward to. And thank you for all the guidance that you've given so far, and hope to receive it. And I'm sure whenever we do some mistakes here and there, you will come back and say, no, come here and let me talk to you. And you will have a side conversation. Continue the same, because bringing us back into the right path is always very helpful. We as leaders, our community servants, whatever you call yourselves, sometimes move away from what we think that's the right thing to do. But people like you bring us back into the right track. And that's very, very helpful and commendable. Thank you very much for all the service that you've done. Something out of it. So for which a big applause to you for having done that, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Partha ji.
Namaste and Pranam Devji and all friends, colleagues, Hindu community leaders. So exactly from 12/12/12, where we have the inception of the advisory board at Keshav Suti, to 22/22. So while we are meeting after little more than 10 years, I'm so kind of glad that, all these 10 years we received the guidance and, all these support from Devji and Sushma ji. Hindus in Houston started with the motto that Vividhata mein ekta, unity in variety, because we have variety of the faith and the belief, but again we want to stay united, and that's the reason we were celebrating Janmashtami. And after some time, all other organizations are also celebrating that, so we started partnering with them. And Devji, after we started this, advisory council, he started to bring the higher stage of our motto. So from the unity in variety, we went from that to unity in diversity. So we tried to go one step forward and started working with Interfaith and started giving our feedback and try to kind of know each other, and started taking part in seva activities, youth activities, and other things. So variety of different flowers in a beautiful garland to nurture and grow this bhavana of like a thought process of staying together. Devji inspired us to collaborate with different organization. I still remember that when there was a case of some bullying of the student in, I think, Cyprus or Woodland, and that time we had a meeting, and Devji inspired us to work with HAF, Rishi Butala and the team, and we tried to help out. And I'm sure that because of this, the problem was resolved and everybody was happy after that. So again, the effort with the this interfaith. Initially, we were working with Rakko Chapel with Beth Kulkarniji's effort, but then we went further after Sushma ji and Devji inspired us, and we started, taking like Parthaji mentioned about the recent COVID and how he inspired us to have the like a Zoom meeting with all organizations, and we tried to help out each other. So this is the very, very good experience of 10 years. And like everybody said, I'm sure that Devji will continue guide us, and we wish them a good health, Devji and Sushma ji.
Thank you very much, Sharad Amin ji. Girish Nayak, who's also the past president, he is not here today. And it is now Dev Mahaji's turn to talk to us as a chairman of HGH. He is still there at this mic as a chairman. So I invite him cordially. Thank you very much, Devji.
Thank you very much, all the people who have joined here and those on the Zoom. All the comments by three speakers. I don't know I deserve all those comments, but thank you very much anyway. I'm not such a good speaker, so please bear with me. First of all, the credit which is being given to me about the meetings started during the COVID, that belongs to chairperson, the new chairperson, Rasesh ji. It is his idea that this is the time we need to work together. And not only he just suggested, but he took charge himself. And all through these meetings, where we invited people like Dr. Dr. Saneja ji to give expert opinion, Seva International and so many other leaders, because this gave us the opportunity. All that credit goes to Rasesh ji. I was just a follower. And that is the reason he is now, the burden is now on his shoulder for the future. This Prasad ji is well-connected leader. He showed so much interest in bringing the temple together. He contacted on our request to find out who are the current president and so on. He did such a good job, and that's why the board decided to keep him as the vice chair. Thank you. Taraji has explained very well about the objective and goals and missions of Hindus of Greater Houston. I don't want to dwell too much on that. But these are the major tasks. The Hindu Youth Award Gala, formation of YHGH, which is most critical, in my opinion, if the future is going to support all the temples we are building and so on. It is easy for this generation to build temples, but if the future generation is not involved in the activities, all these temples, like something is happening in the Christian community, they would be of no use. So it is very, very important. And the key goal of this organization to get more and more Hindu Youth Award, Hindu youth in our activities and community service. Of course, we are involved in within the community service. Briefly, I'll talk about that. Participation in charitable causes, mainstream to, because we live in this country, we have to equally participate about the present issues happening in this country. Active participation in interfaith ministry, I'll talk in detail. And the most important part, which I think the credit goes to this gentleman here sitting there, Vijay Palod and his family. They have invested, not only Vijayji, his wife Sushma, and all his 3 children. They are dedicated about this youth camp. And this youth camp is such a huge success. The moment the date is announced, all the seats are filled. This is something which we should promote and expand. And already Vijay is working on a site where probably we would have only our own campsite to host all these youth camps and various activities. The biggest contribution is in our representation in Hindu faith, in the interfaith ministry. My wife, Sushma Mahajan, represented Hindu faith more than 12 years. Sanjay Ahuja ji is the current board member, and Vijay Palod is going to be in their committee for reviewing the accounts, etc. You can see in this picture how many youth and parents from Arya Samaj participate every Thanksgiving Day. Although these students are students and parents from Arya Samaj, Houston, they represent Hindu faith. And that is very, very important that we should be present in all mainstream activities so that the people know what Hindu faith stands for. A very good example is Seva International. Seva International, what has done in the last 7-8 years is commendable. And that brought good name for all the Hindus in the United States. As regards the interfaith ministry's participation, let me for the first time acknowledge that in this area, it is all due to my wife's contribution. She not only participated in this interfaith, but before that, 12 years, she was on the board of Pratham. And you may not know that before I got into public service, she was the founding person and second president of Indo-American Charity Foundations. God has been very kind to us in terms of bringing me and her together, and the main cause is my father and her grandparents. They brought us together, and I thank every day of my life that whatever I have been able to achieve, she's my left hand, right hand, or both hands. She has been with me, whether it was Arya Samaj, whether it's Hindus of Greater Houston, or any other public seva we adopted. So it is my first time publicly I want to acknowledge her, and I would like to stand her so that everybody could see her. Youth Gala Cross Temple. This is something, the success of this, my suggestion, went beyond even my own expectation, because this gives the opportunity that not only the quality of gala went up, but each temple had the opportunity to showcase what their activities are. This resulted in a program where we all in our own temples are constantly working, but nobody knows what is happening in each, we don't know what is happening in a temple across us. So this gives the opportunity to understand and learn not only what we are doing, but what other temples are contributing. So I thought once we started in Arya Samaj that our turn would come in 3 or 4 years, and that has not happened yet. So it is a great success story, and I'm thankful that the SGH board is following it very religious. Arrange blood drives, Arya Samaj and SGH. Just this is a given example. Ek akela do 11. We have been holding Arya Samaj the blood drive for so many years, but in the last 2 years, the success was phenomenal, and the reason was simple, because SGH was supporting the Arya Samaj drive. So same way, during this pandemic, Arya Samaj started weekly drives for few months, and then so many other temples listed here joined. And we should support like organization like Seva International, who bring good name to all the Hindus in United States. There were some disappointments, and we need to improve upon this. And this is something we tried food bank drive during Diwali by major temples, because I thought Arya Samaj has been doing for years. This would be good opportunity if all of us could join. But this, I was disappointed when there was hardly any support from any other temple. Other a very important task is the financial support to HGH. And this is something I believe very strongly and passionately, that we build temples in millions of dollars. But when when time comes to contribute some $2,000 of this thing here, Vijay had to go around and ask the temple, and I totally dislike that situation we were in. So my appeal to each and every temple head is that HGH is doing such a great service. This is the only organization in Houston. No other town has such an organization. So support with small amount of money, only $2,500 a year. And in that return, you would get tables at the youth gala as well as participation in the interfaith ministry. So this is something I would request the new chairperson and vice chairperson to follow this religiously and make sure that this happens. Before I conclude, I would like to thank Dr. Venugopal Menon for serving as Secretary of HGH Advisory Council, as well as giving his very honest input. Thanks to all the members of Advisory Council who served with me over the years. Special thanks to HGH current board of directors led by Tharaji. Honestly, I worked with so many different HGH presidents over the year. Her sincerity, hard work, and organization skills stands out. My simple advice to the board is, please don't let her go. Thanks to Parthaji, who wears so many hats in MTS and HGH, and Sanjay Jainji, who helped me to prepare this today's presentation. And thanks to each and every person who took their valuable time to attend today's event here and others by Zoom. Again, thank.
And following its modus operandi, I have observed one sad reality, perhaps strictly my own assumptions, call it conspiracy theory if you may. HGH has remained a bunch of precious pearls in a bowl, instead of being a beautiful garland of cohesiveness and camaraderie. It's a loose collection of threads instead of forming a strong rope. It is many bundis instead of being a laddu, a collage of short stories instead of being a beautiful novel. We choose to remain drops in an ocean when we are capable of being the mighty ocean itself. Every time we meet, we remain in the cocoons of Meenakshi Temple or Arya Samaj or VPSS, not Hindus of Greater Houston. That has to be imbibed in yourself. For want of time, I am at a loss to elaborate, but I must share my anguish with the crowd, with this crowd, of how Hinduism is facing some major threats globally. I am from Kerala, and when I grew up there, it was 78% Hindus. Now it's below 50. And our economic clout of that 50 is a paltry 15%. BJP does not even have a single representative, as the communists and evangelicals and Islamists have joined hands, enlisted unsuspecting Hindus into their fold and fast making it another Kashmir. Just about 3 weeks ago, we attended a glittering convention of KHNA in Phoenix. That's the Kerala Hindus of North America, where it was a global meet of Kerala Hindus. As the well-organized festivities included cultural events, Kaigottikkalis, Chandamelams, fashion parades, movie stars, and sumptuous feasts, hardly there were any discussions about the vanishing presence of Hinduism in the state. Kerala is just a reflection of what's happening, the tussle between Hinduism against the Hindutva in the world, the same as the outsiders concocted. Hinduism from Sanatana Dharma millennia ago. The anti-Hindu proponents now have fabricated the term Hindutva as a Brahmastram against our pristine faith. And the most dangerous aspect of it, if you haven't noticed, is that the anti-Hindu groups are enlisting our own youngsters against us, like how the British used our own as their sepoys against Indians in Jallianwala Bagh and the like. I have much more to say, but will stop because of the shortage of time. But requesting the new leaders, Rasesh Dalalji and Prasadji and the rest of the team, to look beyond, to pay attention and to be proactive. Farther than building edifices for the gods, more than celebrations, havans, pujas, satsangs and prayers, we need to mind our very existence. Since without a wall to draw upon, there will be no paintings. Back to Dev Mahajanji, and with apologies for shifting gears, my reason for deviation is to make it meaningful of what he worked all his life for. I request that looking forward, HGH focuses on the larger picture of collectively devoting our time, efforts, and resources beyond our organizations in preserving our fundamental existence. It is our dharma to protect our mother. I submit my suggestions as my tribute to our dear friend Devji. Hari Om. Thank you. God bless. Thank you.
And I second both of them. This will go in the minutes of the meeting. I invite Rashesh Dalalji to come over and talk.
Jai Shri Krishna. Respected Devji, respected Taraji, respected all my friends. Those who may not be knowing me, I would like to introduce myself, because for some of you, I might be a new face. I am Rasesh Dalal and originally representing Vallabh Preeti Seva Samaj of Houston, that is Shinaji Temple in Houston. I am associated with Hindus of Greater Houston since many years, when we used to celebrate Janmashtami in George Brown Convention Center. And I remember Vijay used to call me 2 months ahead that Rasesh, VPSS has to keep a temple there. We always used to have a temple and get acquainted with HGH. Since then, I am very much impressed with HGH. This is the only organization I feel so proud to be a chairman of advisory committee. But regardless, we will try our best, we will work best We will go ahead with the all resources that we have available and move forward with the objective of advisory committee.
Thank you, Chairman of AGH Advisory Board. Appreciate it. Thank you. Namaskar. I invite the co-chair of Vice Chair of Hindus of Greater Houston Advisory Board, Jiapuram Prasad ji. Please come and share your thoughts and accept the nomination.
Namaskaram, Namaste, Vanakkam, Vandanam, and many other languages. I have to admit right at the moment, or right at the outset, that I'm a man of very few language proficiency. I was born Tamil, Hindu, and I continue to be able to speak only in Tamil other than manage in English. I hope to correct it, and I've already requested Rasesh ji to be a patient teacher for me, because I know it's very important for us to be able to speak in a common language that's not English. And I'll do my utmost to try and learn as much Hindi as I can. Slokas and all that. But my first exposure at philosophy came when I was a university student through Bhagwan's grace, really, I should say, through exposure to Chinmaya Mission. And I was exposed to Swami Chinmayananda ji at that time, back in the late 70s and early 80s, as a teacher, again in Chinmaya Mission, Beaumont, for several years before I moved to Houston. And in Houston, I had the privilege of being associated with Sri Meenakshi Temple. And I see Thupul ji at the back, and of course, Dr. Menon ji, whom I need to acknowledge as the person who first introduced me to Hindus of Greater Houston. Because back in 2014, I remember, he initiated me with, it was a sort of, we were doing Pradakshinam around the temple, and he pulled me aside and I said, I think you should get involved in Hindus of Greater Houston. This was about in 2014, so about 8 years ago. And through the last 8 years, I'd been at, prior to that, I was a volunteer and a teacher at Meenakshi Temple. But through the 8 years, I had served in various positions, formal positions, in the board and in the advisory council in Sri Meenakshi Temple. But I'm happy to say that I've got the biggest promotion as far as Meenakshi Temple is concerned, as at the end of last year. And my exalted position in Meenakshi Temple is that of a pure devotee. I don't have any formal position, but I consider this to be the biggest privilege as a devotee, enthusiastic about whatever we do and believe in it, and not limit ourselves to thinking we need to do it. It is not us we are doing it, we are just instruments. So with those thoughts, again, I humbly accept the opportunity that has been laid on my shoulder along with Rasesh ji, and humbly accept the role of Vice Chair for Advisory Board. Thank you.
We heard that Texas Hindu Campsite Incorporation is building a campsite and collecting money and need public support. And HGS is so much willing to support them in the best way we can. Of course, needless to say, Vijay ji is a big organizer in that respect in collecting. So many of HGS directors, advisory board members, and the public donated money HGS for this cause. And here we are handing out today $25,000 to
No, we'll take a picture.
Girish Bhai is another very important person in this, but he could not be here today due to a prior commitment.
Very good, thank you. My name is Ashok Dandal. Under the leadership of Subhashi, for last 4 years, nobody knows better than HGS about the HHYC camps, Hindu youth camps. Camps were held in Houston for last 37 plus years almost, when some of them, including Subhaji Ramesha, all others were camp counselors. And, Shintriji, and this has been going on for long. So now it's getting harder to rent now. Other organizations are busy with their own activities, and it's getting harder and harder. Every time we rent,
we are unable to rent it for next year because they are busy with other things. So the time has come to build a campsite with the Hindu thought, Hindu representative luminaries, our own statues rather than other religious statues. So under the Subhasji's leadership, 4 of us got together, including Vijay, myself, and Subhasji and Baru Goel, outright bought the land for 51 acres near 60 miles from here, or 55 miles or something, less than an hour plus. That's a beautiful site, very trees, a lot of trees and all that stuff, right? But after this, the purpose is to build our own cabins and the hall, kitchen, and all that to run a campsite. So it's important for us to raise the funds for that, right? So we approximately estimated $2.5 million worth, including building 7-8 cabins and the auditorium, kitchen, playgrounds, and all that. But I want to tell you some good news. Subhasji, he is so committed to that. He said, if you all raise $1 million, himself and Sarojji will give you $1 million. So that is the task we have. And Vijay, Sushma, they're working very hard. We raised up to $500,000 pledges so far. So we need only another 500,000 to make it, and Subhasji matching it. And we want to ideally run the camp next year in that Hindu campsite. So with that, I ask Subhasji to add some few more words. Thank you. Namaste.
Pranam Mahajan ji, Pranam everybody. It's so good to see you in person today. It's been a long time. So actually, what really pained us that we were denying the Hindu camp experience to hundreds and hundreds of youth. There was a demand of 600, 700, 800 youths, and we could accommodate only 200 to 250 youth. And then the kids who could not get in, their parents would be calling Sushma and Vijay and myself and Ashok. Can you recommend my kid? And how can we recommend any kid? They are all our kids. So that was the most painful experience which moved us that let's build our own campsite. Let's have a campsite for Hindus, where it will be a place to go to for Hindus, all Hindus, not any particular organization, all Hindus. So this place belongs to each and every one of you. Go and enjoy. It has a house already, beautiful house. 3-4 families can live in there, completely furnished, and so much activities to do. We have ping pong table, we have basketball, all things. So please use this place. This is all for you. And we have not charged a penny to anybody, and we are not intending to do so. God has been very kind to us. So please use this place and help us build this, construct these facilities. In fact, this year we may not have a campsite available. These kids are trying hard. And believe me, camp experience is so valuable experience that Vijay's daughter has written papers on it. And there are so many other papers in the pediatrics journal and so many other reputed journals, how it helps development of the youth. And this way the kids are unplugged for a whole week. And since this will be our own place, we can have multiple camps, advanced level camps. People can have all sorts of learning classes. So please help us
build this thing, spread the news. And first of all, my personal invitation, Ashok Bhai, and we are looking forward to seeing you, each and every one of you, to come visit the campsite. It's only an hour away, but you will love the place. As you start 5 miles before, it's beautiful trees, and you will feel you are so far away from the city.
Thank you very much, Subhash Gupta.
On behalf of Texas Hindu Campsite, myself and Subhaji, we really are thankful to you.
Thank you so much.
Namaste. Like we're after meeting after a long time. So that's one of the reasons we are spending a little extra time to talk to each other and hear to each other. Otherwise, Devji is very sharp, very clear. Time means 3 o'clock means 3 o'clock. So we'll take 2 more minutes, and I want to introduce our intern, Anjali Agarwal, and I want to hear from what she has learned from this one in 1 minute.
Namaste, everyone. My name is Anjali Agarwal. Dev Mahajanji, it was, I think, the first time I've been introduced to you, and I just want to say that I feel very blessed. 2 years ago, I started working with 8GH, Y8GH, and like you said, your wife was one of the cornerstone for your ability to do so much change in the Hindu community. For me, I feel like everything that I've learned in the past 2 years has been because of 8GH and their efforts towards the youth. Tara Auntie, Vijay Uncle, they have given me so much opportunity to grow and to learn. And I feel like more youth should also, the Hindu youth camp, it will promote Hinduism in the youth, because at the end of the day, that's what's most important. And giving this information to the next generation is important. And I believe everything that was said about the future of Hinduism is completely true, and I agree with it. And again, I feel very blessed to be here today and listen to everything that 8GH has been able to accomplish. And I hope that in the future that we can also keep up, the youth can also keep up. Thank you.
So you heard from Anjali how she has been influenced by our Devji. So I'm going to say something very short.
After you, Ranjit Suneja,
Oh, yeah.
and then
Oh,
Shekhar Agarwal
okay.
are going to speak.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
I'll make it very, very short then. Fast forward to year 2100. My grandson Veer will be talking to his grandkids, the people who made this organization so strong. And that time he'll say with a big smile, I have met Dev Mahajanji. He'll be saying to his grandkids. So this is what I am thinking about the future. Only one thing I'll say, Devji and me met many times. I've been to the home, all those things. My relation with him is more like a guru and shishya. But a modern shishya, sometimes I will argue with him. And one thing I want to say is what Subhaji said is truly correct. HGH has faced many, many challenges. Recently, we faced a new challenge, and I'll share with you. This is very painful to say also, but I'll try to say as polite as possible. Recently, a friend of mine called me that I need some help. Well, what kind of help he needs? Well, my friend of mine is following radical Islam. So HGH has some experts, and I have consulted some advisors how to take care of it. And I'm very hopeful, like every problem we're able to solve as a group, and we'll solve this problem.
I feel truly blessed in the company of all of you here, and very honored to be here. I've been joining the HGH Zoom meetings for the last 2 years, and was glad that I was able to give medical information. But today, I just want to say to Devji and Sushmaji, you have been and you are the pillars of the Hindu community. And I know actually Devji's father and my parents, we go all the way back to Arya Samaj Karol Bagh, and all those days I have grown up as Arya Samaj, and my father was the secretary of Arya Samaj Karol Bagh for almost 25 years. So And me and Seema got married right here 17 years ago in RS Samaj, Houston. So all I can say is that under Devji's leadership and Sushmaji's leadership, we are very blessed to have them here in Houston. And truly you can see how RS Samaj Houston has grown. I know we had the International RS Samaj Sammelan here, and truly one of the largest RS Samajas in Houston, in the US. Under their leadership, the entire Hindu community has grown so stronger, and we are extremely, extremely grateful for their contributions and continue to look forward to their guidance and advisory committee.
Thank you, Dr. Saneja. I invite Shekhar Agarwal ji from the Patanjali Yoga Peeth. And Shekhar ji has also been an integral part of Hindus of Greater Houston. He has always been supportive of our Janmashtami celebrations, as well as ever since I've known him, his son and my son were classmates. That's another connection.
Thank you, Taraji. Subhashji, what a wonderful contribution to this youth camp. And I'm very happy to offer my ahuti also in that. Yeah, it's a great thing that we are planning to have this youth camp, and we all should support that. Now we are here today for Devji, and it's my honor to say a few words about Devji. It was 1996 when my younger brother's father-in-law told me, Shekhar, as I was asking many questions, he said, if you want to know about this world, Atma, Paramatma, go read Satyarth Prakash by Maharishi Dayanand Saraswati. And for that, I came to Arya Samaj. Here I see Devji in the library, and I asked him, I didn't know him. And I said, Devji, I need this book. And he pulled out that book. And he charged me $30 for that. Yeah, it was kind of steep that time, but that was the cheapest price for that book. That changed my life. And that's where my relationship with Devji started. It's been 25 years in the making, and it's been a great, great journey. Really, Devji didn't know that that's what he's going to do. He was more so inclined for playing tennis and all the other good stuff in the retirement. But the sanskara, Pitaji ke sanskar, Mata Pitaji ke sanskar, and the destiny, Pitaji has been a Pitaji, Shri Ramchandji Mahajan. उन्होंने इस सारे समाज का बीज बोया, और देव जी ने पूरी डेडिकेशन के साथ उसकी वीडिंग करी, फीड किया, उसका सिंचन किया, and you can see where Arya Samaj Houston is today, and it's been recognized as the best Arya Samaj outside of Houston, outside of India. So it's a great, great achievement. Really, he completely dedicated his life, and that's what Devji is. Very, very dedicated person, very disciplined person, and it brought many, many changes. And then after a few years, I shared idea about having a DAV school where we can have the children learn Hindi and Naitik Shiksha when they, from the very, very young age. And Devji said, hey, Shekhar, go for it. And here it's been 20 plus years. We have this wonderful, one of a kind DAV Montessori and elementary school till 5th grade. It's a great pride to be part of it. And 2005, tsunami came. Arya Samaj Houston agreed to open up Jivan Parvat in Pondicherry. And again there, with all the other responsibility, Devji took single-handedly, he was the person to run that, and it had been a very successful operation, as we had another Jivan Parvat in Gandhidham. And then he started participating in Arya Pratinidhi Sabha, that's of North America.
which is a council for all the Arya Samaj in Greater North America. And after a year or two, then he became the president. And they did not leave him alone for one term, but multiple terms. And he brought a lot of credibility and discipline in that organization. Now, Hindus of Greater Houston, I don't have to say any words there. You know, Mahatma Gandhi Library, he's one of the big pillar for the success of Mahatma Gandhi Library. It's coming up very well. And also Patanjali Yogapith. He's been my right hand for the support I'm getting for Patanjali Yogapith. We are in the middle of having this Patanjali Wellness Center here, right here in the center of this Houston city, a $15 million project. And I want to thank all of you, this HGH group. You remember that 2008, when we have the most successful camp of Swami Ramdev Ji here, the largest one. And all of you, I really take this opportunity today to thank each and every one of you, because that volunteer support we received, the financial support we received, it made it that success. And because of that, we are in a position here now. We have 8 acres land here, right here at Highway 6 and Beechnut to build this center. And I'm looking forward for everybody's continued support to make this successful. It would be a wonderful project also. So really, I mean, in any way we say, Devji is a very, very generous person. You know, his mantra is charity begins at home. Anything, anytime anything comes, his ahuti is the first one in it. And he's very patient, you know, dharya. I remember Dharam ke das lakshan, dhriti shama dhamosteyam, you know, is the first one is dharya. He really, I have seen, we had some issue with buildings and land of Jeevan Prabhat Pondicherry. The patience I see, I cannot imagine really the patience and the hard work he does. I can keep going on and on and on. It's a wonderful journey to be a friend with Devji. I mean, we are fortunate and he is fortunate to have the company of Bhabi Sushma Mahajanji, who has been with him all along. She is as dedicated to these social and spiritual causes. My wishes to both of them to have a wonderful life. They had a wonderful life. I say, Jive ma Sharda Shatam. Devji, Bhavi, may you live 100 years and more. We're so blessed to be in our hearts and minds. We cherish your friendship. Thank you very much.
Anyway, thank you all very much. I will just say the Shanti prayer. Please join with me as we conclude this program. If anybody wants to say anything, this is your last chance or we will conclude. I thank all those who joined us on Zoom call. I saw a few of the names, but I'm not able to really, I just there for a second. So anyway, thank you all for joining on Zoom call too right now. And we will close on time, though we started a little late. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaskar everyone.